Good morning. Welcome to Thought for the Day. Well, I think last week I promised you a bit of humour. And to be honest, I haven't had time this week to sort out the things that I was going to do, I was going to look at. And a comment made to me was that perhaps some of the things I was going to talk about might not be as PC friendly in this day and age as they were back in the 70s. So I'm going to have a relook at some of the things. But whilst looking back, it was interesting that one of the things I did discover is that we tend to, whatever we go through, we tend to just cherry pick. The brain does, the mind does. Cherry pick the things that we perceive are happy or we perceive are good. I was thinking that when I started off as a young man in the forces, it was in the winter, and one of the things we had to do was clear the parade ground of snow, and we were all dressed up in what's called our number eights, which is our working gear. We'd clear the snow, and then we'd get back into barracks and change into our number ones, which is our top gear, to do marching and parading and all the rest of it. Amazingly, those thoughts sort of didn't sort of come too high up the list of things. Perhaps about the parading did, and we sort of put a gloss, as it were, on things, and we make things out to be a little bit happier than perhaps they were. And that's how we get through things. And I think at some point in time, we will look back at the last year or so and go, yeah, there were good times. There were very sad times, but there were really some good times as well. And our life changes. And I think I spoke some time back about changes. The other day, I happened to be out and about and passed a charity shop. And this charity shop closed, amazingly, under the government guidelines just before Easter. And there, in the window, were Easter cards and various other things all ready to go for Easter. So if it were possible for the government to relax its rules and say, hey, you can all go back shopping this weekend, just in time for Easter, this shop would be all prepared and all ready apart from a bit of dust. But it also made me think this. That's where we were a year ago. That was our life a year ago. This particular shop has been stuck in a time warp, for want of a better phrase, for a year. And yes, it could come out if the government relaxed the rules. It could come out this week and just slot straight in to where it slotted in last year. And that's how probably a lot of people are thinking their lives are going to be. But there's been a lot of things happen, a lot of changes, a lot of alterations, a lot of people doing things differently now to what they used to do. Not because they necessarily wanted to a year ago, but because they had to. And I think one of my first thought for the days was about change being constant. And it's true. We've evolved. I've spoken to and helped a number of octogenarians and septuagenarians and various other genarians deal with computing. And now they quite happily talk to each other on Facebook and various other mediums, not Facebook, Zoom, and various other mediums, as if they're old hats and they've been doing it for centuries. It's as if they taught us. So when you're on a Zoom or something, they'll be saying, "Oh, press this button, or do this, or do that," and you'll be going, "Okay, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do that then," and just humour them because you actually taught them how to do the thing in the first place. And who knows? They have evolved, and perhaps their knowledge is greater because they've got a bit more time to look up things. Years ago, I worked on my family tree for years, and bit by bit went to libraries, brought up various bits of information. And Elaine, bless her heart, because she's not been able to get out and do things, has gone online, and she now is definitely the queen of our ancestral sort of information. She gets people from all over the world now talking to her. And amazingly, we've discovered members of both families living in Australia. And nice to know they weren't sent, they just went. And amazingly, yeah, and we've got family, Elaine's family's in New Zealand as well. But my family is in Australia, and they have a slightly different history. So we've been able to fill in some gaps of their history from where they used to live up in Boldmere, when their grandparents used to live up here, and fill in the gaps. And it's amazing. Elaine's now found people who she'd been looking for years, and found their relatives that have suddenly come up because she did a DNA test and put the DNA test up, and is getting lots of info back. Some of it obviously has got to be checked to make sure that there's a providence, but it's amazing. And I think the reason is that so many people have had so much time to do things, that they've been able to do different things, and they've had so much time on their hands. And so why not look back in your family, find out where you came from, what your family's about. So that's another change. Amazing. We're now finding people. I did tell you what's funny about this. Told you, give you a bit of funny bit. They all say the similar things. They all say, if you happen to be down here when the COVID's finished, pop in and see us. Well, let's be honest. The only reason I'm likely to be down in Australasia or passing Australasia is if I'm going to the Antarctic. And at the moment, I haven't got any desires to pop to the Antarctic. So it's definitely going to be a planned visit, as opposed to, if you just pop in, if you just pop in, just pop in, you know what I mean? As if it was going round the corner for a cup of sugar. So lives changed, and not all for the worse. Not all for the worse. I think what will happen is that when we start to get out of lockdown, we're going to find the new norm is completely different to the old norm. And I think those that evolve with it are going to run with it, and they're going to be mightily blessed. And those that are going to try and hang on, screaming and shouting, hanging on by their fingertips, are going to find life a little bit more difficult than it has been. However, whatever, wherever we are today is wherever we are. Whatever we're doing is what we're doing. We just thank God that He's brought us through so far, and in Him we live and have our being, and we just got to thank God for being God. Thank Him for what He's doing. And his mercies are new every morning, and His blessings are new every morning. And that's what we've got to look at and say, yeah, thanks God. Thanks for what we've got. No matter what it is, thanks for what we've got. And on that happy note, I'm going to say ta-da, and you have a great day, you have a blessed day, and most of all, you have a safe day. Bless you all.